first join again.
Hi, how are you, Arvind?
Hi, sir. Good evening and good, sir. Thank you.
Good evening. Yeah. Oh, the other people are also here. Anshul is here, Arvind is here. Should we wait for Satish and
Good evening, sir.
other few people? I have a question. Anybody appearing for electrical?
No, sir. I am done with electricals.
Anshul, how about you?
Done with electricals.
Hmm.
Electrical and safety are done.
Okay, so I have a question for you guys.
Yes,
The
sir.
question is, at your home, you have a ceiling fan. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so when you switch on, the ceiling fan gets heated and it actually does not, it does not spin at all. What can you suspect? Possible.
Capacitor has it's not working. Like anyways, it is a single phase. So now the capacitor is not working. So the motor is getting heated up.
Okay. Any other reason?
Maybe this fan motors, yeah, capacitor is one reason, sir. Is it?
Okay. Anand,
Yes, sir.
hi, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, sir.
Are you done with your electricals?
Yes, sir. I'm already done with electrical, sir.
So I had a question for the class. Mahendra is here. Mahendra,
Okay.
hello.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for the class. Are you done with your electrical?
Not now, till now. Sir.
Okay, so you are the right candidate for this question. बाकी सब
Okay.
बत्ती साहब already बन चुका है. So the question is, you have a fan at home. When you switch on, then it is getting overheated. It doesn't spin. What could be the problem?
So choke bearings.
Choke bearings. Okay.
And also if the capacitor is not working, sir.
Okay. What else could be the fault? Can there be a single phasing?
The fan home, anyways, it is a single phase equipment. So for single phasing only, because of the single phase only, we are giving capacitor so that it can split and start. So if it is not working, then the situation is like single phase only.
There is only one phase, and if that phase is gone, then the fan cannot overheat. Right? Where you have a three-phase motor, एक phase चला गया, then it will spin, but it will not start again. है ना? And it will get overheat. वहां पे single phasing, yes. यहाँ पे एक ही phase है, वो भी चला गया. Overheat होगा क्या? Okay, I will improvise this question. You are noticing that the fan speed has reduced.
The voltage supply is less now.
Supply and everything is the same. Nothing has changed. Only fan speed has reduced. So if you put the fan regulator to 5, it should run at maybe 3000 RPM. I am just saying एक guess है. So 3000 RPM पे चलना चाहिए. But अब वो 3000 पे नहीं है, वो 2000 पे चल रहा है.
Winding
Everything
winding चला गया है.
वाइंडिंग चला गया है तो आरपीएम कैसे कम हो जाएगा?
उसका मैग्नेटिक जो फ्लक्स है वही कम हो जाएगा. वो कम हो जाएगा तो फैन का स्पीड भी कम हो जाएगा.
बट अगर वाइंडिंग चला गया है, व्हाट डू यू मीन कि वाइंडिंग चला गया है? अगर चला गया है मतलब चला गया है. द वाइंडिंग इज और इट डज नॉट वर्क.
वाइंडिंग वीक हो गया.
कैन दैट बी द केस कि वाइंडिंग वीक हो जाए?
yes sir, वाइंडिंग वीक होता है.
हाउ डू यू प्रूव इट? विच इक्विपमेंट?
जनरेटर में ही होता है, अल्टरनेटर में.
बट वाइंडिंग वीक होता है. वाइंडिंग का क्या पार्ट वीक होता है? वाइंडिंग इज अ वायर. उसमें क्या वीक होना है?
एक्साइटर.
Okay, so exciter has to go weak. But exciter, the generator itself is a brushless generator and it is self-exciting, right?
Yes, वो जनरेटर में तो एक्चुअली सर ना इससे ज्यादा मेरे को आता भी नहीं है इतना ही मैक्स है
Yes,
मेरा.
it is not a permanent magnet that it will be weakened. See, when you say ki winding gets weak, then you should be able to prove it by some method. When you say the current is less or current is more or current is steady, then you are proving it with a multimeter. Hold on, I'll yes, yes. So basically, I have some technicians at my home. So I will tell you after the class the very interesting findings. Okay, let's start with our class. Quick, huh? So what we are going to see is the paint system, right? हाँ बोलिए Wi-Fi क्या पासवर्ड था यार इसका रिलायंस क्या पासवर्ड था यार पासवर्ड भूल गया हम्म। है क्या स्कैन करना है? क्यों नहीं ले रहा है पासवर्ड? तो सही डाल। ठीक है। मोबाइल का हॉटस्पॉट, ठीक है। हाँ तो आप मेरे से ले लो ना हॉटस्पॉट। हॉटस्पॉट ये है। फिर से कनेक्ट करते हैं ना। हॉटस्पॉट ऑन हुआ, हो गया होगा, आप देखिए। हाँ वही है। बट अगर मैं नहीं हो रहा, सेटिंग्स में जाके देखना पड़ेगा यार, वाईफाई का क्या पासवर्ड है। आपको किस लिए चाहिए ये? अच्छा, आप ये डोर के बाहर जाएंगे तो वहां मिल जाएगा आपको नेटवर्क। ये डोर खोल के यहाँ पे ये कॉरिडोर में आपको मिल जाएगा। हाँ यार, तो लेट्स कंटिन्यू। तो यहाँ पे what I'm going to present is I will send you 2 slides about the paint. If you come to understand those 2 slides, वो बहुत है, ठीक है? So the first one, hold on. One moment. I'm going to share self-polishing copolymer. Okay. So I had shared this in the group. फिर से share कर रहा हूँ. Oh no. We are a bit delayed today, huh? But paint is not a very big topic. Whatever is required for the exam, that I should be able to cover it by 9:30, and that knowledge is good enough to answer. Did you attend the paint class before? Any of you?
No, sir.
Okay. So I'm forwarding you one. That is what I'm going to explain this. Okay. I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So to begin with, let me give you a brief introduction of what was what and what is what. तो यार पहले ना ये तो there was something called a TBT paint earlier. So when shipping was not very famous, and in 1960s, 1950s, when people could still throw oil in the sea, so there was a paint, it was called TBT. So there was a paint, it was called TBT. All these paints they had this extract called TBT. Now TBT paint, they were abolished. ठीक है. So in 1990s and 1970s, as you can see, there was a big hue and cry from the fishermen. Okay, so they said their fishes are dying because shipping trade is increasing and number of ships are increasing, and the whole ecosystem is getting fractured by this TBT. Okay, so all the fishermen started crying. So later on, what happened? They wanted a new method where the TBT could be abolished and uska jo hai replacement that was required. ठीक है. So that is how the paint system, began the revision. Now, when I say paint system began revision, it means that I'm talking about the paint on the hull. Okay. So in this particular class, we will be focusing on the hull part. क्योंकि वो आपको मतलब that is the query that you are going to get. ठीक है. तो वो can you see? You can see, right? Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
So the point number 1 is that TBT based paints, TBT based anti-fouling paints are no more allowed. Okay, they are no more in use actually. Nahi hai. It does not exist. It cannot exist because it is a regulatory requirement now. Okay. So what is the option? So why TBT was famous? Because it had this anti-fouling substance. Okay. One moment. Huh? Okay. So TBT में anti-fouling components था. So because of this one, this was a very popular choice. ये ऐसा था. लेकिन what is TBT? What is the full form of TBT? It is called tributylene. ठीक है. So what happened later on when the revision came? They said you can use an anti-fouling substance, but it should not be TBT. उसमें tributylene नहीं होना चाहिए, and it could be anything else but not tributylene because it is very dangerous to the environment. ये एक चीज है, right? So what are the options that people started inventing and using? So you can see this part becomes important for the exam. TBT free anti-fouling paints, that is what you will be asked. ठीक है. So इसमें types हैं. There are 5 types which is mentioned with their advantage and disadvantage. Okay, and their mechanism of working. So what you have to remember is the mechanism, how it works, the types, okay, and the advantage and disadvantage. ये 3 चीज आप याद रखोगे. That is good enough to study the hull paint. Now the application method, okay, and how much the measurement should be, and how in what conditions you should paint the vessel and all that we will see in the separate slide. But this slide is basically for the types and advantage disadvantage that you need to know. Okay, so these are the 5 types to make the process easy. So hydrolyzing polymer resin hai, okay, that is with copper and booster biocides. So you could not have TBT. So what they had was copper and booster biocides ke saath. It is a hydrolyzing polymer. So what is hydrolyzing polymer? What does hydrolyzing mean? Hydrolyzing means something which reacts with water and it splits, right? So that is the meaning of hydrolyzing. That means it will dissolve. So the carbon, not the carbon, uh, uh, this copper bonds with the biocide in the paint, and when it hydrolyzes, that bond is broken and the biocides are released. That is the mechanism. How it looks something like this. Okay, ये आपका yellow जो है, these are the biocides. Okay, ये क्या है? These are the polymer, right? What is this blue color?
Paint.
That is the paint itself. When that reacts with water, you can see the polymer and the biocide bond is broken and they are released into the water. So when they are released, the biocides, when they release, they do not allow barnacles and other things to be, no, it does not stick to the hull. So when that does not stick to the hull, so your skin friction, it is still maintained and it does not increase. That is the idea behind it. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
इतना clear है? ठीक है. So the first one was hydrolyzing polymer resin. So एक polymer है, ठीक है, with copper. This polymer is basically with the copper and with biocides embedded. So you can see the biocides are embedded with the polymer in the paint only. And as the time proceeds, so ये यहाँ पे निकलता रहता है over a period of 5 years before the vessel goes to dry dock. It keeps on doing that, right? Now it is up to the application part and the dry dock, the paint manager who is there. It depends on how expert he is in applying the paint, right? And what quality of paint is being used and what is the thickness that you are putting, right? So these are the things, and what are the conditions under which the paint is applied. That is also very important. What are the conditions? We will see. Right now, you just need to know about what types of paint are. ठीक है, तो number 1 हमने देख लिया. What is the advantage? The advantage is that it is better than TBT. What is the disadvantage? It has a biocide. Okay. What is biocide? What is biocide?
It kills the sea growth on the surface of the ship.
It is basically a chemical, right? You have pesticide, right? To kill the pest. After all, it is a chemical. So can you breathe it? You should not. That is why you see when the pesticides are applied, people vacate the place. Because, too much of pesticides going into your lungs and nose and other things is also not good. So likewise, TBT जो है, it does not, now this copper based polymer and biocides का जो combination है, it is not as harmful as TBT. But then this biocides and the copper, it has some effect, okay, which is still allowed. So you can have a copper based paint with biocides, okay, and it is not a concern. But then again, if too many vessels are using it over a period of time, then this will also become a concern. So what people started doing, they started the number 2 option. They started adopting the number 2 option. So it is a hydrolyzing polymer resin again with copper, but free of biocides. Okay. So that one is free of biocides. We will come to this. Okay. Hold on, guys. तो आपका Okay. So the second option, that was same hydrolyzing polymer, that is still with copper but free of biocides. That was option number 2. So because you don't have biocides, then the how you call this, it is less harmful. Okay. So if you look at the first option, the one with the biocides, here is the advantage where they have mentioned. Kahan pe hai advantage? Okay. Here is the advantage. So it is cheaper than TBT. ठीक है, economical है, right? And this, but TBT का क्या है ना? Why TBT was popular? Because it lasted long. ठीक है. So अगर आप अपने हल पे टार लगा देते हो, जो रोड पे लगता है, so that is going to last long, but very detrimental effects उसके साथ रहता है. तो that is why that was not preferred. तो ये लोग जब ये लगाया, तो the cost decreased, it became economical. But what happened was, because the hydrolysis was taking place, the paint का thickness जो है, that was reducing all the time, right? Now you have to control the thickness of the paint over a period of 5 years, because it has to last for 5 years, right? And in between you will have this underwater inspection जिसमें diver जाके clean करेगा, the paint thickness will reduce again. So basically that was the challenge. Okay, how to control the hydrolysis rate. If too much hydrolysis takes place, the paint will thin down, and after you will lose it within 2 years or maybe 1.5 years. So it will not last for 5 years. Okay. So that is the trick here, that you should be controlling the hydrolysis rate with the paint application. Anyway, so that is not for us. That is for the paint inspector and the company who is making the paint, right? So they have to give a guarantee that this will last for 5 years, right? So this is a comparison. So the left photo is with the TBT. The right photo is with the TBT free. So which one is better?
TBT.
Why TBT is better?
The paint is still there, it did not come out much, and so maybe.
But here also the paint is there. You can't see the bare metal, right? The paint is still there here. So I would say See, TBT is more lasting, but this both the photos are taken at a different instance. Okay. So different instance, matlab this is, it is not freshly applied, but you can say that it has been a while. Okay. But ये जो है, this picture is after 5 years. This is not after 5 years. Okay. So you can see even after 5 years, so this is the condition. इसको थोड़ा wash करो and it becomes like this. Whereas यहाँ पे algae, barnacle सब लगता है, right? And this is a recent picture. This is 5 years picture. Okay. So that is the effect you can see. But anyway, for us, this should be the case because हमको TBT use नहीं करना है. Okay. Okay. Advantage we have discussed. The second one is basically the same hydrolyzing polymer with, copper free biocide. That means without biocide. Okay. It is the same paint without a biocide. Okay. So what is the advantage? It is less harmful than the first option, the one with the biocide. Okay. So how does it work? This system contains triphenyl boron. Okay. That is pyridine salt, which is easily degradable in seawater. So it is again working by hydrolysis only. So what does it have when it does not have biocide? It has triphenyl boron. Okay. This is a salt. So instead of the biocides, this salt is mixed with the paint, which it keeps giving out due to hydrolysis, and it does not let the barnacle stick to the hull, and then it gets dissolved in seawater and it gets degraded in the seawater without any effect. So it is definitely a better choice. ठीक है. उसमें क्या था? उसमें biocides था. Okay. So that is the difference between the two paints. Both the paints are same. One is with biocide, one is without biocide. Okay. So definitely there is an advantage here. Okay. And they are talking about the performance. So you can see the performance is really good here, but they are showing a very rosy picture here because this is not the actual case. But from exam point of view, I would say कि आप इसी order में पढ़ो, so you will remember it. But my experience, this is not the case. Maybe this photo is taken after 1 year or within 2 years. Only then this can be the case, and that too after washing. You can see the dock. This is already full of water, and this has been washed recently. Okay. So this picture is after washing. Before washing, they have not projected what is the picture. So we don't know. But for exam purpose, you go by this order only. Do not debate कि ये अच्छा है या नहीं है. You don't have to prove it to the surveyor. You have to tell this to the surveyor. Bas. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Any doubts so far?
No, sir, no.
Stop me if you don't understand. So just a quick recap. TBT was not allowed. So the options are these 5 options. So we discussed the first one with copper and biocide. The second option is with copper without biocide. Okay. Now we are going to discuss another option, that is hydrolyzing polymer resin without copper and without biocide. So इसमें copper and biocide था, इसमें copper था, biocide नहीं है, इसमें polymer है and biocide भी नहीं है. Okay. So the third option now we are going to discuss. So this is the third option, that is anti-fouling paints with copper free biocides. Okay. So now the complete name of the paint is TBT free, copper free, biocide free, anti-fouling paint. Correct? Can you remember the development? Is it difficult to remember?
No, sir.
See, the first one, only TBT was there. The second one, copper and biocide were there. In the third phase, there is no copper and no biocide, right? That is what we are seeing here, right? So what happens? There is no copper and no biocide. So that is why it is named as TBT free, copper free, biocide free, anti-fouling paint. Okay. So what does it have? It has that same triphenyl boron salt, okay, which is degradable in water, and that is mixed with the polymer. So see, anything has to be mixed with the polymer because polymer has to bind things together. Only when the hydrolysis is going on, then the polymer will release this salt or the biocide that it is holding. That is the funda. Okay. So yahan pe you have only the polymer and the triphenyl boron salt. That is it. And they say it is very good. I have not come across this paint. So my personal experience with this paint is zero. I only know that this exists in the market. Okay. So this definitely will have a disadvantage. Okay. So what is the disadvantage? See, advantage is it is degradable in water. So environmental wise, yes, it is a good paint. Okay. And it is also economical because that copper part is removed. Okay. You can control the hydrolysis rate just like the other paint. So it is a hydrolyzing paint. So you should be able to control the hydrolysis reaction. Okay. Now, these kind of paint, when I say paint, so they are subjective to different temperatures, different dew points, different trading areas, right? Not all the vessels will have the same paint, right? They will have different paints according to the different demand that the vessel is trading in. Now, some vessels will be trading in a sub-zero temperature. Unke liye you cannot put a normal paint. It has to be a ice class paint, right? Which has to hold, right? We will see in the further slides. We will see, but I'm just saying different trade routes, different vessels will have different paint. Now, if I know for the next 5 years, my vessel is going to remain in India, that means tropical water hai. Sorry. So we were talking about this paint. So the advantages, did we discuss? We were discussing on the trade pattern, right? Now, according to the trade, right, different types of paint will be applied, right?
Yes.
Now there are certain paints where even if the trade is permitting that, you may not apply that paint. The reason being, if that paint is very delicate, right? If that paint is very delicate and you are running in shallow water all the time, you have all the chances that that paint will be gone. Okay. So a different opinion may be taken and different paint may be considered. Anyway, in this slide, our concern is not that, right? You were saying something? Okay. Now this is resin without biocides. Okay. Same thing. This one you don't need to remember because this is applicable for this yachts and all, right? But there is another option, number 5. Now this number 5 paint is very important, right? Number 5 is the point which is right now in the market. Okay, so number 5, and yeah, number 5. So what is number 5? That is important because there is no copper, there is no TBT, there is no biocide. Okay, so what is it? See, when I say anti-fouling paint, it does not have to be a paint which kills barnacle. It could be a paint, it could be a technology where the barnacles are not sticking. That is my goal, right? That is my goal. That the barnacles should not be sticking. My screen friction should not go very high. That should be the idea behind it. So you have this silicon paints, silicon polymer paints, which do not have copper, do not have TBT, do not have biocide, right? And it does not work by hydrolysis. That is what is important here. Okay, it does not work by hydrolysis. So what does it do? When this coating is applied, right? So it is so smooth that it will not let your barnacles to stick to it, even if they stick, right? And you do a high-speed run. When I say high-speed run, anything more than 12 knots, if you take the vessel more than 12 knots, you will find that whatever barnacles were trying to stick, they are being washed off. That is the quality of this particular paint. It does not do any hydrolysis, it does not release anything. It is just made of silicon, right? And you can apply it. Okay, how to apply, we will see in the coming slide. Then after application, you are not even allowed to clean this one, because if you clean, this paint is a very delicate paint. If you go and clean it with a brush, with a diver, then all the chances that you will lose this particular paint. So for 5 years, that cleaning was not required. So what happens? What is the limitation of this paint? It cannot go into very cold weathers like 0° and other things. I have a both good and bad experience with this particular paint that I'm using. Now I took a delivery of a vessel and with this particular silicone paint. So the paint was from Hempel. Okay. And it was coded as X7. So it was a silicone based paint coded as X7 paint. And they claimed that this, you do not require a diver, you do not require a brush to clean, because nothing will happen. Only very slight slime will be there. Barnacles will not stick. So I took the delivery of this vessel. On the very first voyage, I went to Russia. The temperature was -35. So when I came out of Russia, I had a bare metal. New ship. So during bunkering, when I looked into the water, actually the sea was frozen. and it all turned red. Pura sea red ho gaya tha because we lost a lot of paint because of that 0 degree temperature. Now, when we put an insurance claim, so what happens is that insurance will see if the paint manufacturer has, told that 0 degrees mein nahi jane ka. And we went to that temperature, and insurance se bhi kuch nahi mila. And the paint inspector also said ki bhai, you were not supposed to go to this particular temperature. So everybody realized it only after the damage was done. Okay. Is that clear enough? Why everybody is silent?
No,
Am
sir,
I
it is clear,
disconnected?
sir.
Okay. So when you are in the MMD, you give him bullet points, as I told you. So what will be the bullet points? This 5 bullet points you give him. Okay. So first was TBT and the 5 bullet points here that you tell him. And silicone paint right now, it is the one trending in the market. Why it is trending? Because it is TBT free, it is copper free, it is biocide free, it is pesticide free, it is only the cost is not free. The cost is at least 3 times more than the normal paint. 3 times more. It is very, very expensive paint. Okay. But since this is giving a fuel saving of about 1.5 to 2%, that is what the paint company is saying. That is why it is a popular choice. But what is the disadvantage? It cannot take, too much of stress. So when I say too much of stress, that means if the tug is coming and pushing, it is still okay. But if the tug is coming and pushing at the wrong places, right, then definitely you will lose paint. Okay. So that is why this paint is, very, how you call this? Strong nahi hai. It is not a strong paint. Okay. It is prone to peeling off. And that is the care that it should be taken. Okay. All right. So advantage, disadvantage.
Sir, I read it while I was reading for returns. I read it at there is a technology called hydrogel technology, which is very latest. Is it true? Is it coming up? Sir? It was mentioned some hydrophilic anti-fouling coating. So when this paint is applied, they form these polymers. They form like a bubble kind of thing around the layer where it is applied. So these organisms, they think that it is the layer of water, and they'll not get attracted towards the ship's hull. So I read that this is the latest technology.
Yes. So these paints, this copper-based paints, they were hydrolysis paints. Okay. वो जो hydrophilic वाला जो है, I have sent one more material in the same group in the previous paint class. So the next, that is also a technology, hydrophilic technology. So what happens in the hydrophilic technology? Normally, if the barnacle, they find a rough surface, they will come and stick there because they get some hard surface to hold on to. What hydrophilic is doing, it is releasing those hydrophilic components, right? And with that particular release, as you said, the organisms think that it is water and they should not hold on to it. So it is a process of confusing the microorganisms, right? So that is also there. But hydrolysis is one technology. Hydrophilic paints are another technology, right? And even apart from this, there are other ways also. So there was one study conducted where the one vessel was completely not coated with any paint. Okay. So when I say not coated with any paint, so there was only a primer and a top coat where the micron was very less. The thickness of the paint was very less. And what they did is basically had many anode points. where they supplied that with electricity. That is the next option that I am going to mention, right? It is called electroconductive anti-fouling system. This is not even a paint. This is a technology. And with this technology, you are providing current to the whole hull. It is something like an ICCP. Okay. So when you provide this, your hypochlorous acid is formed. So with this hypochlorous acid, your organisms, they are killed. This is one more technology, right? So there are many technologies. If you can remember, well, then you can tell that in the exam. If you can't remember, this slide will help you. ठीक है? वो हाइड्रोलिफिलिक वाला जो है, that material is also there in the 4B and 6 group में ही है. Okay, I will send you that material. It is in the group. I will send you. Right? Can you remember these 5 points?
Yes, sir. Can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Anybody remaining with any doubt so far?
So now this X7 paint is the most commonly used paint almost in the industry. Is it right, sir?
X7 paint is a silicon-based paint.
Silicon.
Now it depends on the owner. Does he want to shell out that money? And that will also depend. You know, the owner might be very big owner, right? But if he's going to keep the vessel only for 2 years, 3 years, then why should he bother? No. But if he is a good owner, you know, prudent owner, then he is going to say, okay, I'm also concerned about carbon release and CII, EXI, and I want to keep the environment clean. Then he might force for a X7 paint. So it really depends on the trade route, on the owner, many variable factors are there, right? Now,
Yes.
if it is a owned vessel, right, it is not a chartered vessel, it is a owned vessel, so the owner will take good care of it, right? So he wants this vessel to last forever. So what he will do, his capital cost will be very high. So he will be shelling out initially a lot of money on the paint, on the energy saving devices and everything, all the installation. The capital cost will be very high. But 10 years down the line, he would have recovered everything and still generated profit in 10 years time. So much so that he can buy another ship. Okay. So when I say making profit, it does not mean that freight rates are high. It also means that you have burnt less oil, you have used less manpower, your off-service hours were less. So both ways you have to see what saving are you gaining out of this bit. Okay. So it is a case-to-case analysis. Okay. Now, I'll show you one more. Acha, I sent you one dry dock. There is a book.
Yeah, yes, yes.
So most of the things that we are going to talk and what the surveyor is going to ask is basically mentioned in that book. So please go through that book. It's a very nice book. You don't have to, it is a huge volume, but you don't have to study everything. What you have to study is go to the index of this particular book. Okay. Let me go there. When did I send that?
I think today morning, early morning, sir.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, this one, 47 MP4. This will not even open now. Okay. So in this particular book, you go to the index, and in the index you see, okay, anchor, deck machinery, and you list out the things that you expect, that you see the regular questions. ठीक है? आप index में उसको पहले tick करो, and you can have the corresponding page number. You turn to that page number and you see what is written about the anchor, and you make, you know, one page में सारा short notes बन जाए. If you go to study the whole book, that will take forever. Don't do that. You simply go to the index, tick the things, that the questions are expected, go to that particular page, you study that one page, finish it. It will be faster. And that is where this surveyor is reading this book and is coming in the morning and asking this question. He is not forming a question because he has got time at home. No. What he reads the newspaper, he reads the MERI manuals, he reads the shipping company publications, right? And he reads it on the way when he is walking to MMD. And that is where he is forming the question, and then he is coming. So एक बार before you go to exam, go to a MERI का वो जो manual है जो मिलता है, right? Go through that and see what is trending. वो तो पक्का पढ़ के जाओ. You can expect one question out of that. And for now, it will be definitely EXI, CII, and what things you can do to control this. What are the industry technical steps that have been taken, right? So ये question तो आप expect कर लो. Okay, let's move on. So I hope this was not ship printing system. This is another slide. Okay. So I will send you this one also. So before, this is a very short and crisp presentation of, before applying the paint, what you should do, after applying the paint, what you should do, and what you should measure, and so on. But it will be nice if you have some time for the exam. If you don't have time, go through this one. But if you have time, and if you want to know everything about the paint and how it is applied and what precautions are taken and so on, then I'm going to send you a slide. वो slide में देखो. You can see my screen, right? The one that I'm scrolling.
Yes, sir. Can see your camera.
Hold on. So what I will do, I will send you one more slide. Hold on. I will send you this also. The group भेज ही देता हूँ. And this is what we are going to discuss. So there is this candidate called Rameshwar Chaudhary. He was in our class. He has cleared his class 2. Done.
Yes.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I talked to him when he cleared the exam. I had a word with him.
So he messaged me today, just before the class. He messaged me. I was very happy to see this. So somebody has cleared. Let me open that slide. Hold on. Okay, so this is directly from the paint maker. Okay, what the link that I sent you, that is a publication. Somebody made it and published it. That is good, nice, short, and crisp. And this is an extensive version of that one. And this is directly from Hempel. This is directly from the maker. Okay. So he's talking about silicone paint. Okay, not only silicone paint, any paint, how to apply. Okay, and how to preserve it, and how to prepare for application, and what to be done during application, and what has to be done after application. Okay. Now, so these are the generic types of paint. Generic type means commonly used paints. Okay, so there is this anti-fouling. Okay, that is used for the hull coating, right? Acrylic paints. So where is this used? Acrylic paint. You can use it inside tanks and everything. Okay, and this is a top coat. ये alkyd paint है, ठीक है, alkyd based paints. Normally engine room में जो रहता है. Okay, so these are the one. Now epoxy based paints, they are basically, you know, for the deck areas and other thing. Polyurethane is a top coat and silicone is for hull coating. But you don't need to remember this. I'm just saying. Okay, so these are the generic types of paint, but you don't need to remember this. What you should remember. Okay? See, X7 is a silicone based paint, and you see this Globic 9000 SPC. SPC is called self-polishing copolymer. Okay, so this silicone wala jo hai, this is applied on both the sides of the vessel. On the flat bottom, on the bottom of the ship, this SPC paint is applied. Okay, because it is more long lasting. That is why. We will simply go to the okay. Now, before proceeding, I would like to say that there is a dry film thickness and there is a wet film thickness. So when you apply a paint, there is a dry film thickness and then there is a wet film thickness. All right. So what is a dry film thickness? What is a wet film thickness? Anyone? See, when you apply the paint, so it has volume, right? The paint has a lot of volume. And probably after drying out, the volume will decrease. That means the thickness will decrease. So if you know, if you're expected, if you know that after drying, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
If you know that your dry film thickness in the end you have to achieve is 150, right? So you have to apply a wet film thickness of 225. So after drying, this will become 150. Okay. So that is the meaning of it. Now, how to derive this wet film thickness and dry film thickness? So this is given by your manufacturer itself. See, this is the Hempel guy. He has produced it and he has given this to you. That you use this particular paint. This is the name of the paint. This is the grade of the paint, right? For this, if you apply, the wet film thickness will be 225. When it shrinks, it will be 150. So if you need total of 350 microns, which is the normal range of the paint which is on the hull, agar 350 microns chahiye, so before applying this silicone paint, it is not a direct, you know, you see the bare metal and you go and apply silicone. No, it is not like that. First, you have to apply a primer. After the primer, there has to be a binding coat, which can hold the primer to binding coat, right? Now, then on top of the binding coat, you apply your top coat. Okay. The top coat is not sticking to your primer. That is why you should apply a binding coat in between. Is that clear? Is that clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So there is a primer, there is a binding coat, there is a top coat. Okay, ये तीनों का मिला के 350 microns आ गया है, and you have achieved it. For that, when you apply in the wet condition, you have to ensure that this is the thickness of the paint. Okay. Similarly, on the bottom side, you can see the difference. This is on the sides, huh? This is on the top side. Means on both the sides of the vessel, your paint thickness is 350 micron. Dry film thickness is 350 micron. But the same thing you see on the bottom of the ship, it is 600 micron, right? So definitely, you know, it is more. Flat bottom is 480. So dry film thickness and wet film thickness we have seen. Now this is what decides the micron of the paint, how much it should be. Average speed of the vessel, activity level. Okay, activity level means it is too much at anchorage or always trading at a high speed, right? Then the seawater temperature and the service time. Okay, now if I have a ship which is very busy, like a container, it does not have time to stop and get the diver and cleaning. If I have a cruise ship where it does not stop and you cannot wait for the diver, you must wait for the passenger but not for the diver. It is that busy. So in those things you want a tension free life, so you will apply a good quality paint with this particular parameters. Okay, you can go for silicon based paint. So some deciding factors are there. Okay. Okay, now these are the key points. Okay, if you have to have a good film, good painting, progression done, then you have to have these points in mind. The surface preparation should be good. Okay, the cleaning should be good. Then the wet film thickness that is mentioned by the maker, that should be good, that you can achieve your dry film thickness, and the temperature and the dew point and other things should be good. Okay, that is why when you choose a vessel for dry docking, the dock that you are choosing and the paint that you are choosing, the condition should be matching. Okay, so that the dry dock has to be planned very smartly, that your paint and the climate where he's applying this paint do the match according to the, otherwise waste hai na, you're wasting time and money. So this is how the process begins. Okay, high pressure washing, that is the first step. When the vessel comes, deballasting is done, vessel is sitting on the dock, so they start with a high pressure washing. What is the intention? Whatever the algae, barnacles they can remove by high pressure, that they can remove by high pressure washing. You have seen a Q machine, right? So Q machine pressure is 50 bar, 75 bar, 100 bar. High pressure washing can take you to 700 bar, 900 bar. Okay, and he's saying if the paint is silicone, then you should not exceed 200 bar because the paint will get damaged. Agar self polishing copolymer hai, anti fouling type, then you can go up to 900 bar. Okay, but it is a dry dock wala, they know that if they can do it with 400 bars, then why go to 900 bars? Because existing paint is also that has to be maintained also. Okay, so washing and manual scraping, that is the first step. After the first step, then an inspection is done. Okay, what is the extent of paint damage? That is, so what are the paint damages? Mechanical damage hai, peeling ho sakta hai, blistering and cracking. See, this one is cracking. Okay, what is blistering?
Blistering is like a bubble forming.
Yes, if you have moisture inside the paint, if it has gone inside the paint, it will come like a bubble. Okay, so that is called blistering, and that is a paint defect. Over a period of time, you will see that blistering will peel off and you can see the bare metal. So blistering is, these are the paint damage after washing that you should make an assessment. Okay, and how much area is prone to this? Okay, So this copper containing SPC. Okay, so we were just talking of this copper and biocide free wala paint and all, right? So flat bottom, we know that SPC is being applied, self-polishing copolymer. Okay, the one with copper and without biocide. So what is the third step? Now he is explaining, he has explained two steps, that he is washing. After washing, he is checking for this particular damage. In between, यहाँ पे थोड़ा फंडा दे दिया है कि the same funda that we studied in the other slide, ये वाला, this one. This is what we studied, right? 5 bullet points. That is what he is explaining here also. Hydrolysis hota hai, hydrolysis se, the biocide is being released and so on. Okay, that is what he is explaining here. And there is something called a tape test. What is a tape test? You know waxing, right? Women do waxing. तो waxing में लोग क्या करते हैं? एक tape डालते हैं. They put on their hand. It sticks to their hand, and when they pull out, all the hairs which are on the hand, they come out just like that, right? So that is what this is, the waxing. ये लोग एक tape डालते हैं. They put a tape and they pull out. Okay, just like waxing. So what will happen if the paint is loose? It looks all right, but अगर tape test में ये paint tape के साथ बाहर आ रहा है, then definitely that area is poor. Okay, so that is a good indicator that your paint is not actually holding. It may look like holding, but it is not holding it. There is no strength. So that is called tape test. Okay, after tape test, what you should do? Prepare the surface. Okay, so before preparing the surface, you have to make sure when you are coming into the dry dock, the ICCP and everything is already switched off. Okay, even if you don't switch off, the system will shut itself down automatically because there is no seawater. That is why all the scupper and everything should be blocked, because somebody is washing on the top and you are preparing the surface in the bottom. Doesn't make sense. That is why, right? So surface preparation. Okay, what is the intention behind surface preparation? That you can provide a good surface where the paint can stick. Okay, so this is the first step. Surface preparation is the first step. Okay, now after surface preparation, you should consider that oil, grease, moisture, salt, dust and rust, all this should be removed while preparing the surface. Okay, so if you have oil and grease, you can use the emulsifying solutions. Like, for example, if you have to remove grease, what is the best thing to remove grease? If you have grease on the liner, spare liner, and if you want to remove that grease, what is the best solvent?
Diesel oil.
Diesel oil. Likewise, if you have oil and grease, coming out of the scupper and it is deposited on the hull and you are doing the cleaning and surface preparation, you use some emulsifying solutions, which is dissolving the oil and grease, taking it away. After that, you carry out the washing. After washing is the rust removal. After rust removal is the dust removal. After dust removal is again washing and drying. Okay, so this is how the process goes. In surface preparation, so what you do, it can be done in two ways. After this is done, after this cleaning process is done, before blasting the surface, so the cleaning process completes here. Then you go for blasting, and the blasting can be done in two ways. Okay, it can be done by pellet. That is abrasive blasting. Small pellets are there. Okay. And उससे आप blast कर सकते हो to remove the paint, right? Or you can use high pressure water. That is also there. Another option where you don't want to use blasting. Now, abrasive blasting जो है, it can be of two types. Okay. So there is spot blasting and there is full blasting. What is spot blasting? As the name suggests, you know that the spot blasting is, limited to a particular spot. There could be hundreds of spots, but local spots. But full blasting means a complete area का पूरा paint निकालना है. It should be brought down to bare metal. Okay. And there are standards of blasting. Okay. So when I say SA1, SA2, SA3, so when I say SA1, that means it is a blasting standard. That means only so much of the paint will be gone. In the further slides, we will discuss. Okay. When I say SA3, that means bare metal. It can take to that particular level. So ऐसा है. So that the paint inspector will tell you that which standard has to be followed, SA1 or 2 or 3. Okay. So here it says full blast or spot blast. Okay. Now, when the full blast has to be done and when the spot blast has to be done. So if you have two types of paint applied on your hull, so it could be a silicone on your port and starboard. It could be a SPC which is sticking to your bottom, and there is an overlap. There will be overlap, right? Because two types of paints are being applied and somewhere they have to meet. There is an overlap. And if that overlap is, not in a good condition, that he might ask you that if the repair and damages are more than 30% of the hull area, then you should go for a full blast. This is what it means. Otherwise, you can go for a spot blast. Okay. And it is not a requirement. See, he says that it is a recommendation from the paint maker, but this is the thumb rule. Are you able to understand? Any doubt so far?
No, it's okay.
Okay, this is like a story. Just hear it out. So this is how the surface preparation is there. Okay. Now after the surface preparation, ये सब slide is all bakwas. This is talking about the mixing ratio that you don't need to know. Straight away you can jump to paint application. So before application, these are the conditions that you should meet. Climatic conditions. What are the so this was asked in exam also. So these are the conditions you should apply any paint, not only silicone, any paint. Your humidity should be less than 80%. Dew point, +3, and surface temperature. So there is a paint. So application temperature is mentioned, and your surface temperature must be minimum to that. If it is too less, then it will not work out. And this should be the paint temperature while you are applying. Okay. There is something called a 80-20 rule. It is not asked in exam, but what is the rule is given here. I will discuss this after some time. Let's complete the slide first. So यहाँ पे देखो ये spot blast कर रहा है. Okay, again he's telling the same thing. So before applying the silicone paint, you should apply the paint, SPC paint, that copper and biocide free wala jo paint hai, that you can consider applying first, and that is being applied in the flat bottom. And the silicone paint is being applied on the sides. Okay, So first you apply the paint, which is in the flat bottom. Then you come to the sides and apply this silicone paint. That is what he is saying. Okay. Then, okay, this is important. So you see, if somebody is asking you, what are the different layers of paint that is how to carry out the painting process. So everybody wants to know this only. Okay, you see, this is the steel. What is this? Easy 4770. What is that one? What is your guess?
Primer.
That should be the primer, right?
Yes, sir.
That should be the primer.
Primer.
Then 2 coats of primer, right? What is Nexus 27400? That should be the binding coat, right?
Binding coat, yes, sir.
That is the binding coat. And here is the Hempegard X7. That is your silicone paint. So you have a steel on which you clean the surface, then you blast the surface, spot blasting or full blasting. After that, you apply, make nice cleaning, drying. You meet the climatic condition which is mentioned, dew point and everything. After that, you apply the primer. After primer application, you apply, the paint inspector will tell you that 1 coat or 2 coat of primers you should apply. And after that, you apply this one, the binding coat. Then you apply the silicone coat. Easy to understand? Just hold on 1 minute. नहीं तो मैं So this is the normal process. If you are asked to draw in MMD, then you can draw this particular diagram. Okay. So now the painting, as we already discussed, will have a separate requirements. Okay. किसी को fuel performance चाहिए. किसी को चाहिए the paint should be so strong that they are not worried about the fuel performance. They are more worried about that your vessel should not stop because of paint damage. Okay. So for them, this is another option that is provided. So you see, this is the existing anti-fouling paint, which is the old anti-fouling paint. With this, the vessel has gone to the dry dock. They have done the cleaning, washing, and everything. After that, they have applied the binding coat and then silicone coat. So this is another option. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Easy to understand, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So I will provide you this. So if it is winter and you have to face this particular climate, then you should go like this. So it is anti-corrosive system, first one. Then this is, you apply this primer coat, then the binding coat, and then the X7 paint. Easy, right? And see, there are 2 binders here. These 2 are binding coat. But what is the difference? One is for hot weather, one is for cold weather. And then you have the top coat, right? This is the winter specification paint. Whereas if you see the summer specification paint, there is only one binder, which is applicable for the hot weather only, correct? For the cold weather, you should have both hot and cold before you apply the top coat. Easy, right? This is all blah blah. Scupper should be closed and so on. But important thing was that climatic condition and how to apply the paint. That these two slides were important, and that climatic condition. Okay, and the rest all is only blah blah. And how do you control your wet film thickness? Okay, so why you should control your wet film thickness is that you should get a good dry film thickness. That is why. So the paint, paint inspector will be continuously checking the WFT. See, ये सब blah blah है. This is not required for your exam. Okay, and this is before undocking. So if you apply the paint, then you have to, after drying, it is better that you sprinkle water onto the paint. Why? To reduce the friction. So this is how in the underwater area and the boot top area. So this will be the painting scheme, right? So there is a primer, anti-corrosive primer, then is a primer again, then there is a binding coat, then there is a top coat, and then you can apply one more top coat if you have to increase the thickness. That is it. So many painting schemes, but the important thing to remember is that particular slide that I showed you. ये सब पढ़ने का जरूरत नहीं, right? And this is the whole flow chart from docking to undocking. Okay, so high pressure water jet. He's washing, then he's marking the areas which are bad, then he's doing the edge preparation. Okay, then he's doing the the local repair, right? Then he's cleaning the dock, then he's applying the silicone on the top side and everywhere, right? So that is the flow chart. This one, no need to study. Again, washing and all, we have already discussed. You see? So this is Hempe Guard, that is the new silicone paint that he has applied. This is X7 silicone paint. This is the top coat. Okay. This is the old silicone system. So the vessel has been in the dry dock before. This could be the second docking. So first docking mein hi ye silicone leke nikla tha. This is the old paint which is there. You see that they have not fully blasted it, right? They have not gone to exposing up to the bare metal. Okay. So what they have done, they have blasted it, but not to remove the paint. Okay, not that extensive blasting. So ये सब remove कर लिया. What they are doing now, they are applying the binding coat and then the silicone coat on top of this. That is it. This is only a diagrammatic representation. Okay. So basically, in this whole particular slide, important thing to know is that this one and that climatic conditions, right? Yeah. These two slides you remember and you're done. Is there any doubt?
No, sir, no doubt.
Right? This should be sufficient for your exam, but it will be good that I have a painting book. Okay. Let me try to make a PDF copy of it because this one has about 300 pages. It is a very small book, handheld book. So whenever I go to dry dock, I basically use that book. It is everything about painting. in which area, which paint you should use, how you should use, what is thinner, what is hardener, right? Everything is there, but only problem is I don't have a soft copy of it. So I will try to click the photos and send it to you guys. Maybe I can make a PDF. I can ask somebody to make a PDF. I have to find a credit. Okay, I'll try to supply you that. But that is a very nice book. Only thing I do not have a soft copy. I only have hard copy of it. So as an engineer, we always have doubt, right? कि deck पे कौन सा paint लगेगा, engine room में कौन सा paint लगेगा, machinery paint is what, high temperature paint is what, right? Can I apply this paint in the funnel? So many questions will be there. All those questions are answered in that book. Anyway, I'll try to make some PDF. Okay, so I will send you this slide also.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I guess the next class is about to start. Let's continue in the next class, man. Okay. We will go to Radar.
Radar will, yes,
Yeah,
okay.
Tomorrow evening again I will start, but
Yes.
tomorrow evening I will try a little bit of early class.
Okay.
Let's see, man. It is difficult during the office hours to meet this, but I will try. Okay.
Yes.
See you then.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Thank you. Good night.